Ji-yun, a young historian, encounters the mystical Fox Guardian, Haenul, at Gyeongbokgung Palace, marking the beginning of a journey to protect Seoul's ancient spirit. In Seoul, where ancient traditions whisper between towering skyscrapers and neon lights, an unseen force has guarded the city for centuries. Stories of the Fox Guardian, a mystical being with 9 shimmering tails, have been passed down through generations. Most dismiss it as folklore, a relic of a superstitious past. But in the heart of the bustling metropolis, Ji-yun, a young historian, would soon discover that legends have a way of reawakening when the world needs them most. This is the story of how an unassuming historian and an ancient protector joined forces to save Seoul from a shadowy threat that could have unraveled the city's very soul. Shadows in Gwanghwamun. Ji-yun stood on the cobblestone path leading to Gyeongbokgung Palace, her camera in hand and a notebook tucked under her arm. The early morning air was crisp, and the city was just beginning to stir. This was her favorite time to document Seoul's history, the quiet hours when the stories of the past seemed closest to the surface. As she moved along the palace's imposing gates, she noticed something strange. Shadows flickered unnaturally across the stone walls, as if dancing to an invisible tune. She squinted, trying to make sense of it. The light was steady, and yet the shadows twisted and stretched as though alive. "Probably just tired," she muttered, shaking her head. But the shadows seemed to grow darker, leading her to a secluded garden at the palace's edge. It was here that she saw it, a fox with silvery fur glowing faintly under the morning sun. Its golden eyes met hers, holding her gaze with an intensity that made her breath catch. "Who walks so boldly on sacred ground?" a voice echoed, though the fox's mouth didn't move. Ji-yun froze. I'm Ji-yun, a historian." The fox tilted its head, its tails fanning out behind it like a cascading waterfall of light. In a blink, the fox transformed into a woman wearing a flowing hanbok, her eyes still glowing with an otherworldly hue. "I am Haenul, the Fox Guardian of Seoul," she said, her voice firm yet melodic. "And you have stumbled upon a dangerous secret." Inside a hidden shrine in Namsan Forest, Ji-yun learns about Seoul's ancient spirit from Haenul, the Fox Guardian, surrounded by glowing inscriptions of Korean history. Haenul led Ji-yun away from the palace and into the hidden depths of Namsan Forest. As the historian followed the Fox Guardian, the bustling sounds of the city faded into a tranquil silence. They arrived at a shrine that seemed to breathe with its own life. Its ancient stone walls were covered in moss, and faint golden inscriptions glowed faintly in the dim light. "Seoul is more than what meets the eye," Haenul began, her tone serious. "Beneath the surface lies its spirit, a web of energy woven from its history, its people, and its stories. I am its protector, and for centuries, I have kept it safe. But now, the balance is crumbling." Ji-yun leaned closer, captivated. "What's causing it?" "A shadow spirit," Haenul said, her expression darkening. "It was sealed long ago in the mountains, but the greed and despair of humanity have weakened its prison. It feeds on chaos and disharmony, and if it escapes, it will devour the essence of this city." Ji-yun's pulse quickened. "Why me? Why show this to me?" "Because you are more connected to Seoul's spirit than you realize," Haenul said. "And I cannot do this alone." Training among the living memories. Over the next few days, Ji-yun's life transformed in ways she couldn't have imagined. Haenul guided her to places where Seoul's spirit was strongest, teaching her to see the city not just as a collection of streets and buildings but as a living, breathing entity. At Bukchon Hanok village, they walked through narrow alleys lined with traditional houses. Haenul taught Ji-yun how to listen to the whispers of the ancestors who had lived there, their voices faint but filled with wisdom. At Jogyesa Temple, they meditated among flickering lanterns, drawing strength from the tranquility of the sacred space. Ji-yun began to feel the city's energy coursing through her, a hum that resonated in her bones. They stood atop Namsan Tower one evening, watching the city lights spread out like a galaxy. Haenul gestured to the skyline. "Every light, every building is connected. Seoul's spirit flows through them all. To restore balance, we must tap into that connection." At Cheonggyecheon Stream, Haenul confronts the shadow spirit emerging from the foggy waters while Ji-yun clutches a glowing talisman, ready to join the fight. The shadow spirit revealed itself at Cheonggyecheon, a tranquil stream running through the heart of the city. The air was thick with an unnatural chill as people gathered along the water to enjoy the evening. Ji-yun was the first to sense something was wrong. The stream's usual gentle flow seemed to stutter, its surface rippling as though disturbed by an unseen force. A dense fog began to rise, shrouding the area in an eerie silence. Haenul shifted into her fox form in an instant. "It's here," she said, her voice a low growl. A monstrous figure emerged from the mist, its form shifting and writhing as if made of pure darkness. Its eyes burned with a malevolent red light, and its presence sent a wave of dread through the crowd. The Fox Guardian leapt into action, her tails glowing with ethereal energy. Ji Yun, clutching the talisman Haenul had given her, stood her ground, her heart pounding. "Hold steady," Haenul called as she darted around the spirit, her movements graceful and precise. Ji Yun began to chant the words engraved on the talisman. Though unfamiliar, the incantation seemed to resonate with something deep within her. The spirit recoiled, shrieking in fury before retreating into the fog. But its parting words lingered. "You cannot stop what is coming." At dawn in Bukhansan National Park, Haenul and Ji Yun prepare for their final stand against the shadow spirit, with the mountains bathed in golden light. The battle at Cheonggyecheon was only the beginning. Haenul and Ji Yun knew the shadow spirit would return, stronger than before. To prepare, they visited sacred sites across the city, rallying the energies that would be needed for the final confrontation. At Gwangjang Market, they gathered talismans blessed by elders who recognized the urgency in Haenul's plea. In Insadong, artists painted charms that vibrated with protective power. Even the bustling streets of Hongdae offered their energy, with musicians and dancers unwittingly contributing to the cause through their art. As the pieces fell into place, Ji Yun felt a growing connection to the city. She began to see the spirit of Seoul in everything, the resilience of its people, the beauty of its traditions, and the hum of its ever-moving life. In Gwanghwamun Square, Ji Yun reflects on her journey, smiling as the city thrives in harmony. In the distance, the faint silhouette of the Fox Guardian lingers, a reminder of Seoul's protector. The shadow spirit made its stand in Bukhansan National Park, where the mountains held the oldest and most potent energy. Haenul and Ji Yun arrived at dawn, the sky painted in hues of orange and gold. The spirit had grown colossal, its dark form blotting out the sunlight as it loomed over the trees. Its voice echoed like thunder. "You cannot protect this city forever. Its people have forgotten their roots." Haenul charged, her tails blazing with light, but the spirit was formidable. It lashed out with tendrils of shadow, forcing the Fox Guardian to retreat. Ji Yun stepped forward, trembling but resolute. She held the talisman high and began the ritual Haenul had taught her. "Soul, hear me," she cried. "Lend us your strength." Lights flickered across the city, temples, markets, homes, all responding to Ji Yun's call. The energy surged through the ley lines, converging at the mountain in a dazzling display of power. Haenul absorbed the energy, her form glowing brighter than ever. With a deafening roar, she unleashed a final strike, piercing the shadow spirit's core. The spirit disintegrated, its screams fading into the wind. Epilogue: a city reborn. Seoul returned to its vibrant rhythm, its people unaware of the battle fought to save their home. But Ji Yun and Haenul knew the truth. Ji Yun, now a storyteller, shared the tale of the Fox Guardian wherever she went, ensuring the legend would not be forgotten. And though Haenul disappeared into the shadows, Ji Yun often felt her presence in the city's quiet moments. As she stood at the bustling Gwanghwamun Square one evening, she smiled, knowing that Seoul's spirit was safe, and that its guardian would always be watching.